Go.
Hey, everybody. We're back once again for another episode of Frenemies. And DJ, I have been looking forward to this episode because I think this is one of the more divisive teams out there. So I've seen people pick them as low as fourth, and I've seen people like Fangraphs pick them number one. And so before we get into that, the Brewers were, I think, a little bit on the surprising side last year. I mean, I think they were under 500, if I'm not mistaken, but that was surprising that they were, in the playoff hunt. So tell us about the Brewers last year.
29-31, like you said, just under 500, fourth place, but they made the playoffs because all four teams in the Central last year made it, into the playoffs, which is crazy to think that many teams made it, except for the Pirates, obviously. So they lost 2-0 to the Dodgers in the wild card round. They were almost 500 versus every team they played in 2020. Only exceptions were they were 1-2 versus the Indians, 2-4 versus the Twins, and they were 3-0 versus the Royals. So they played well against the Royals. In the playoff game versus the Dodgers, they lost the games 4-2 and 3-0. So the offense did not show up. Avisail Garcia was the only offensive player. He had 4 hits in that series. The rest of the guys, including Yelich, hit 222 or below in the playoffs. Their offense was a problem all season long. 26th in average, 21st in on base, 24th in OPS, and 26th in run scoring. Starting pitching was 11th in ERA, 10th in WHIP. Relief pitching was 11th in ERA and 5th in WHIP. Yelich struggled last year, hitting 205 on the year. Brandon Woodruff and Corbin Burns were awesome on the mound for them. They were dominant, had awesome seasons. Josh Hader was okay, 3.79 ERA, and Devin Williams won Rookie of the Year with a 0.33 ERA. Ryan Braun hit 233 and decided to call it a career because he's terrible and I can't stand him. So that's my recap.
So DJ, it was a real interesting offseason for the Brewers. It felt like they were just kind of waiting in the weeds, and then all of a sudden they snatched up some interesting guys. So talk a little bit about the additions that they made.
So for a while there, it was just Daniel Robertson from the Giants, Derek Fisher from the Blue Jays, Tim Lopes from Seattle, and Jordan Zimmerman, David. Stop it. How did they get Jordan Zimmerman? Who picks this guy up anymore? Stop it.
It didn't last. If I don't know if you saw the news, I think he got released yesterday or the day before. Okay. So he's no longer a Brew Crew.
Up until this point, that was it. And then the last few weeks, they got Travis Shaw back from the Blue Jays, which I like Travis Shaw. I think he's a scrappy little player there. Jackie Bradley Jr. got him from the Red Sox. I'm a fan of his defense, not really a fan of his offense very much. And then Colton Wong was a big one to me. Got him from the Cardinals. 53 homers in his career, 281 RBIs. He's a 2-time Gold Glover. He's a very good player. I like him a lot. No, not overwhelming numbers, but he gets on base. He's really solid, and his glove is phenomenal. So they made an upgrade there, and then they loaded up the outfield, really, to be honest with you. And this is kind of before they knew Braun was officially going to retire. So they got a ton of outfielders to work through, and they could have had even more if Braun decided to come back, but that was their addition. So what'd you think, David?
Man, I think it's great. Not only did their lineup get better, but their defense is amazing. You got Jackie Bradley out there in center, Gold Glover. You got Colton Wong at second, who's a Gold Glover. Yelich is no slouch. Lorenzo Cain is a great defender. And I think this team is going to end up hitting. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. They had several guys had down years last year, and I don't think that's going to stick this year. So tell us about the subtractions. Who left?
Justin Smoke ran to Japan in hopes that he hits again and he's going to make some money and try to come back to the majors. Eric Sogard to the Cubs, which, man, that was a good pickup by the Cubs. I really like him. He played well today. Ryan Braun officially retired with 352 homers, 1,154 RBI, batted 296 for his career. 8 Hall of Fame years, so when he comes up, David, we don't even break him up here. I'm going to already say no. Only 8, not 10. So bye, no Ryan Braun. Okay, we'll forget that one. Ben Gamble to the Indians. Jed Yurko is a free agent. Brock Holt to the Rangers. Logan Morrison's a free agent. Alex Claudio to the Angels. Corey Knebel to the Dodgers. And Justin Grimm is a free agent. So they lost a little bit there. I mean, no joke that they lost a couple bats there, and so they'll feel that a little bit. But they made a few additions to kind of try to counter that. So, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, guys like Jed Jerko, I know that's not a big name, but he's a good power guy. And the guy you named right before him, it slipped me there. I lost it, but
Ben Gamel.
Ben Gamel. Ben Gamel was a former Yankee prospect. Again, not a star by any means, but if I'm not mistaken, he's starting where he went, which I believe was Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken. I saw his name come up the other day, and they're going to start him wherever it is he went. So, those guys hurt a little bit, but, man, they did a great job replacing him. So I don't think it's going to sting too awful bad. So let's talk about that lineup, DJ. Here's what Fangraphs has for us. Colton Wong starting playing second. Keston Hiura, that's going to be interesting. He's moving over to first. Yelich batting third in left field. Again, I can't believe that he's going to do what he did last year. Avisel Garcia in right field. Actually, you know what? I think I might have messed that up. Where's Jackie Bradley playing? This has Lorenzo Cain in center, and we know that's not going to happen. So how's that going to work, DJ? Let's just go ahead and put this to bed. What are you seeing on that front?
See, now this is something that I've been reading too, is that, that Kane is going to play center, but I don't know how you do that if you got Jackie Bradley out there. You wouldn't put Jackie Bradley in right and put Kane in center, in my opinion. I would put Bradley in center and Kane in right, and then you got Yelich in left. And Garcia is kind of the odd man out, which is kind of crazy right now because that man can mash and was their only hitter in the playoffs last year. So
wow,
this is where your problem lies here on this team is you got four guys you're going to have to find playing time for with no DH. And actually, you know what? Ryan Braun actually was going to come back and play first, if I'm not mistaken, if Keston Hiura they would have found a way to try to rotate everybody around. But, they got a little bit of a mess on their hands. I think it'll all work out.
Yeah.
It really will, but it's interesting, no doubt.
Yeah, so Travis Shaw at third base. Again, this has Lorenzo Cain in center, Omar Narvaez at catcher, and Luis Urias at shortstop. Is that what you had, DJ?
Yeah, I got Orlando Arcia at short. Urias is backing him up, so we'll see what they do there too. It's a kind of a little battle there as well. So
yeah, interesting. So Narvaez is an interesting player. He really mashed 2 years ago. It may have even been 3 years ago now for the Mariners, and I can't remember who they gave up for him, but I mean they had to give up something to get him. But last year was rough, DJ. Do you have his stats there in front of you?
2 homers, 10 RBI, 176, 294 on base.
Yeah, and again, I can't believe that that's going to happen. I happen to like this lineup. I think they're going to hit. The defense is going to be off the charts, and I like their pitching too. So tell us about that starting rotation.
Brandon Woodruff, 3-5, 3.05 ERA, 91 Ks in 73 innings, David. Corbin Burns, 4-1, 2.11 ERA, outstanding. 88 Ks in 59 innings, unbelievable. Adrian Hauser, 1-6, 5.30, 44 Ks in 56 innings. Brett Anderson, 4-4, 4.21, 32 Ks in 47 innings. And Josh Lindblom, 2-4, 5.16, 52 Ks in 45.1 innings pitched. Josh Hader is your closer. You got Devin Williams in there too, and Brent Suter, that's a 3-headed monster.
Yes, sir.
Studly guys in the bullpen, so I like that as well.
Yeah, I like this pitching staff really well. You still got Freddie Peralta in there too, who could start some games for you. Woodruff and Burns, man, those are two names. Going back to fantasy, I remember seeing them on the waiver wire and just thinking, these guys, they'll end up falling off or whatever. And I just remember kind of putting them off, and then somebody scooped them up. And, man, they were awesome. And I think, to me, this is what separates them from the other teams in that division. I think all these teams have holes. That division's kind of down as a whole. But the Brewers got 2 aces. And they got 2 aces in the bullpen too. And I think that's going to carry them a long, long way. So what prospects, DJ, do you think can help this year?
Well, let's see. What do I got for the prospects here? I have got Drew Rasmussen, who is a reliever. In his first 10 games, he went 198 ERA. Then he bombed and couldn't help deep in that bullpen a little bit. So he seems to be a stud. He's 6'1", 211, righty, 25 years old. So he actually came up a little bit last year for them and pitched 15.1 innings and gave up 10 earned late in the season. So he really, has been a guy that they've been looking forward to having up. So I think he's going to help that bullpen out a little bit more. And like we just talked about, that bullpen is loaded. So if you can add another guy to it, I feel like this is going to help them a ton even more. So I'm going to go with Drew Rasmussen. Who do you got?
Yeah, so I looked down their prospect list. Not a lot of ETA 2021 or even 2022
Nope.
prospects. I did not look up their farm system rankings, but if I remember from last year, I think they were dead last or pretty
Brutal.
close to it. So
Yep.
their number one prospect is Garrett Mitchell. He's at least 2 years away. First rounder in 2020, 6'3", 215 pounds. And he looks to be a masher. He was kind of a late bloomer. In high school, not really paid that much attention to. And then he went to UCLA and obviously became the stud that he is. So again, a long way off, but that's their number one prospect and someone to keep an eye out in the future. So DJ position battles, we kind of touched on a couple there. What do you think? What's one to watch?
I'm sticking with that outfield. That's kind of what I wrote down here. Garcia, Kane, JBJ, and Yelich. One of those guys isn't playing every day. That's kind of crazy to me. So it'll be interesting to see how he works this whole thing. I don't know about Kane anymore, to be honest with you. Of those four, he might be the weakest link, but he probably hits better than JBJ. So I don't know what you're going to get there, how you're going to make this work. But Craig Counsell's one of the best. I'm sure he'll figure it out. You never know, an injury will come around and this will be for nothing, and one of those guys could come in and be a defensive replacement, or one of them could come in to pinch hit. They're going to all four have roles on this team, no doubt. But, those are four starters, and one of them is not going to be happy every day. So that'll be interesting to see how that's handled.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys are the guys you just named are all good players. They're also all millionaires, which means they all have one thing in common, and that is they have ego.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this is going to be interesting. These guys aren't going to want to sit. I'm assuming that they're going to play some matchups here. JBJ is a lefty. If I'm not mistaken, Avisel and Lorenzo Kane are righties.
Yep.
And of course, Yelich is a lefty. So I'm assuming they're just going to kind of switch around. It also makes me wonder if one of those guys, well, the one guy being Avisel, couldn't learn to play some first base. I'm not sure. I like Keston's bat, but is that going to stick? I don't know. I thought that was an interesting move that they made when they signed Wong. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see, how all that shakes out. But if anybody can pull it off, it's Craig Counsell. I truly believe he's one of the best, if not the best. He does more with less every single year. So don't be surprised when he has them contending. So DJ, favorite Brewers memory?
Just to go up to the stadiums. I've been to both of them, and I go up there with a lot with friends. My sister-in-law lives right down the street from there now. And
nice.
So we go to games all the time up there. It's only 90 miles north of us, so it's really not a far trip at all. So I've been up there many times, and it's kind of funny sometimes they will not sell Cubs tickets, or they will not sell Brewers tickets to Illinois zip codes. So you try to purchase tickets on their website from a zip code that is in Illinois, sometimes they will block you and not allow you to do that. We have this happen to us a lot in hockey too, to be honest with you. So it's kind of funny that happens. They want to keep us out, man, because we swamp that place. Like if you watch Brewers games, you will see a sea of blue, David. And they don't like that, man. They really hate it. They think it's bad for business, so they will intentionally just block selling them to the.
That is the craziest thing I have ever heard. I had no idea it was that hardcore. So tell us about Milwaukee, the city. So the only exposure this somewhat Southern boy has had to is Laverne and Shirley from back in the day. So how's Milwaukee, the city?
It's not bad. It's kind of an armpit, to be honest with you, up there, but I like it. My sister-in-law lives in a good little neighborhood there. I like that part of Milwaukee, and you just kind of you come right up on the Brewers field. It's kind of crazy. You just go through like neighborhoods, and then all of a sudden there's Miller Park, or I don't think it's Miller Park anymore. I think they renamed it actually. It has a new name now, actually. I believe that 100%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's got a new name. I don't know what it is now, David, but they renamed it from Miller Park, which is kind of cool because it's not named after beer anymore. But I don't remember what it is.
How can you not be named after beer if you're a brewer?
Yeah.
Come on.
That's a good point, though. Well, I don't know what the deal is there anymore as far as the name of that, but yeah, I like it. I mean, Milwaukee's a good city. I'm just kind of giving it a little heat there because I'm a Cubs fan, but I got nothing against it.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, my favorite Brewers memory, you're going to laugh at this. I tried out for the Brewers one time, DJ. I was 16 years old. I had the cold, sweaty hands. I thought for sure I was making it. But it was a pretty cool tryout, to be honest with you. It was just an open tryout. It was really cold that day. I remember that. But my dad went with me and kind of sat back there and watched. And they actually handed you a card when you left that told you what your grades were and what you needed to work on. So you're going to think this is funny, DJ. Back in the day in high school, I toyed with switch hitting. And to be honest with you, I can make better contact from the left side. It's really strange.
Really?
But I had no power. And so they had a guy down there, it seemed like he was throwing 100 miles an hour. Probably not. He was a college pitcher. And I remember I struck out the first time I faced him from the right side. And the second time I slapped a little grounder through the hole. And I thought that was the coolest thing. Well, you know what my card told me? Stick to hitting right-handed. You don't have enough power. So, and this is the funny thing. I didn't go as a pitcher. I went as a shortstop/outfielder. Yeah. Didn't know. It was the dumbest thing. So we got there and they told us we had to choose one or the other. We couldn't do both. And like an idiot, I chose to do that, which honestly, I was 16. I was probably throwing about 75 back then. So I'm sure it didn't block me from the majors, but it was a really cool memory. And therefore, I've always sort of been a closet Brewers fan, DJ. So anyway, that's really my only memory. It was never a team that I followed much. I think about those old baseball cards. Teddy Higuera is a guy that always comes to mind from the Brewers back in the day. Rob Deere, Robin Yount, those guys. So, when I think Brewers, those are usually the guys I think of. And I'll never forget the CC Sabathia run in the playoffs. That really sold me on some CC.
Man.
And getting to see him hit, I always thought that was really cool. So those are just a few Brewers memories. So DJ, you got me some trivia.
Yes, sir. Before we move on, where was that tryout at, David? That's pretty cool, man.
It was actually at West Virginia State College here. Back in the day, I used to read the paper every day. There was no internet, when I was 16 years old. That had been about 1996. And one day I was just looking in the sports section of the paper, and sure enough, there was a little blurb there about they were having a tryout. And so, like I said, my dad got to take me down there, and it was pretty cool.
That's awesome, man. That really is fun. I mean, those are memories, like you said, that stick with you forever, no doubt about it. So, all right, my trivia question is, which player had a 39-game hitting streak in 1987 for the Brewers? Was it Glenn Braggs, Robin Yount, Paul Molitor, or Greg Brock?
I feel like this is a trick question because you immediately want to say Paul Molitor or Robin Yount because those are two Hall of Famers. And actually, I'm going to stick with that. I'm going with Molitor. But it's not going to surprise me if you say Glenn Bragg.
No, you're right. It is Paul Molitor. David, the streak ended. I mean, 39 is not even really close to 56. 17 more games is a lot harder than you think. So I guess this isn't necessarily close. To me, I would say close is like 48, 49. That's getting close, so to speak. Because this is hard to do, is get a hit every single game in a row. So the streak ended with Paul on deck, and Rick Manning, David, hit a walk-off to end the game, and the won the game, and the fans booed him. They booed him. He won the game, and he got booed because Molitor was on deck, and the streak ended. Stupid Brewers fans.
That's hilarious. So, DJ, I got one here for you. This is one I wouldn't have got it. Who was the first Brewer to hit 50 home runs in a season? And the Brewers they've had some pounders. Christian Yelich, Richie Sexson, Ryan Braun, or Prince Fielder.
Ooh, I'm going to go Richie Sexson.
That's where I went to, and I was wrong just like you. So it was Prince Fielder, 2007.
Man.
Not only was he the youngest to ever hit 50, but he and his father became the only father-son duo to ever hit 50.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool. Prince, I hated what happened to him. I can't remember what injury or whatever it was that he had, but it ended his career. I mean, Prince Fielder was the man there for a minute. If I'm not mistaken, he went from the Brewers to Texas. Am I thinking correctly on that? And had some sort of back injury or something that ended his career. But But Prince Fielder was a really good player and a lot of fun to watch. And I've told you before, Cecil's one of my favorites from the '96 Yankees. I love me some Cecil Fielder.
Well, David, the third generation is coming to a major league field near you soon. He will be up. He's in high school right now, and he hits taters. He is going to go to the show. So you will see the third generation of fielders coming soon to a ballpark near you. He'll probably be a Cub. Let's just be honest with you. So.
We'll see about that. Is he chunky like his dad and grandpa?
I don't think so, man. On the video I saw him, and I think he didn't look like a fielder from when he pimped it like a fielder when he hit it, but he did not like look like a chunk like one of those two. So looks like he might be in some pretty good shape, and he's legit from everything I'm reading. So
nice. All right, DJ, I can't wait. So we know you don't have the Brewers winning the division. We know you don't have them second because we just had the Cardinals episode. So where are the Brewers going to finish?
They are third. I had the Reds fourth, and then we did the Reds podcast. So I'm going third place. No playoffs. It's simple. There's two teams that are better than the Brewers. Although, it's a coin flip. This division is up for grabs, no doubt. I see you shaking your head. I finally know where you're going with the division here. This is going to be where we're completely different. This whole division is set up way different between both of us. It'll be interesting to see if Josh Hader is traded at some point, if they fall out of this and they can get some prospects to help out with that 25th to 31st ranked. They're off the charts. They're 31st. So if their prospects need a ton of them back. If they can get them for Josh Hader, I would think about it if you fall out of contention, David. That's all I'm saying with Devin Williams as your closer of the future. You move on and get what you can for Hader. That's just my thoughts. What do you think?
First place, DJ. Their lineup, while not awesome, it's above average. When they got Wong and Jackie Bradley, it kind of pushed them over the edge for me. And the reason why is no team in that division has two aces, and no team in that division has a bullpen as good as the Brewers. So I think their lineup will be enough because let's be honest, Yelich, when he's right, he's one of the top probably 5 players in baseball. And so I'm just thinking off the top of my head here, I can't think of anybody that has that potential on their team either. I like what the Cubs have there. They've got good names, but the last 2 years they haven't hit. And so, Bryant's not as potent as he was. Baez hasn't been, Rizzo. And so while they got the names, Yelich is actually the guy who's done it. And so I think that the Brew Crew is going to be in first place. I haven't thought about them as far as playoff runs because in my mind, I'm trying to think of who all I've had in the playoffs. So I can't see them making really a World Series run. The Padres are better than they are. The Dodgers are better than they are. But I think the Brewers, with a good manager and good pitching, could be scary for a lot of teams to face in the playoffs.
Man, we're going to fight about this Central all year long. You already started to take jabs at the Cubs, and they're one game in, so I'm going to fight you all year on this division. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Expecting a text after every loss just to remind you that by June the 20th, Rizzo will be with the Yankees.
Oh, wow. Unbelievable.
Yes. Davey Garcia, he'll be in the Cubs rotation next year.
Yeah.
All right. That wraps it up. DJ, another good podcast. As always, Brewers are going to win that division. The Cubs are going to be crying. So we'll see what happens. So we got the Mets coming up. This is where DJ is the most wrong of the entire year. So you'll want to tune into this. It'll just help you understand how hard it is sometimes to argue baseball with DJ because it's just so dumb. No, I'm just kidding.
You're an idiot. And so this one was for you, Josh Anderson. You're a head baseball coach up in Wisconsin now. This is for you, buddy. We didn't get to get you on here. We're going to have you on this show one time, and it's hopefully for Brewers next time we get this thing.
Can I talk about Moose real quick? Just
talk about Moose. Do it, man.
One of, if not the funniest things that ever happened at Temple. Actually, 2 things. Number one was Josh hitting batting practice naked. You can't unsee that. It was still hilarious. But number 2 in this, I don't know if I mentioned this last year when we talked about this. Josh ate some shellfish or something one time, and I'm not kidding. It looked like a cartoon character. I've never seen anyone's lips get so big. I'm talking, it looked like he had one of those things in his mouth. You know what I'm talking about? Those wax lips that you could get at the gas station or wherever. I would give anything to have a picture of that. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. So from then on, he was the lip. I would call him the lip. And then my senior year, Dave Rogers hit me in the face with the baseball. And so from that point forward, I was the schnoz. And so still to this day, when we message each other, he calls me the schnoz and I call him the lip. But Moose, if you ever eat shellfish again, please take a picture. It's so funny.
Oh, that's awesome. So Moose, that one's for you, buddy. Hopefully we'll hook up here and talk some coaching one of these days, like we're talking about when the convention comes to Chicago. You can make the little small drive down here and we'll hook up. And that one's for you, buddy. The Brewers, however, I'm sorry, buddy, as you go to third place. Good luck with that. The Cubs are winning this division, buddy.
All right, we'll see. We'll see. All right, guys, please like and subscribe to our podcast. We'd really appreciate it. Share it. And you guys have a good night.
Night, everybody.